Welcome to another edition of It's Your Business Showcase. I'm your host, Jeff Thomas, along with producer Jack Hamilton. Each and every weekend at this time, we talk small business on AM 1460 and FM 101.1 The Answer. To start off the program today, we're looking at a ministry that is working very hard at something that is, I guess maybe we can phrase it, that's not working very well in our society today, and that is marriage. Our guest is Dr. Pauline Dillard. She's the owner of the business, but also the executive director of Dunamis Center Ministries in Colorado Springs. Dr. Pauline, thanks for joining us today, and It's Your Business Showcase. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
You've got a number of exciting things going on, including a directory you've written of the guidelines that can lead to a really, really good marriage, and you've also had experience in helping families get their children started off on the right foot. But right now the focus is extraordinarily on marriage. You've got a couple of events coming up, and you've also added one since we last talked as we prepared for this program. So I'm ready to dive in and see what you're working on. Your organization, if we go way back to the beginning, started out of your home, and you were working on a number of things, but marriage was always your prime focus. And you started in California, then you came here, and in 2008, the Dunamis Ministry Center opened here, and you're helping on the counseling side, the teaching side, and you also have learning events and seminars that you offer to people to figure all of this out.
Yeah.
Has that been a rewarding thing to you?
It is very rewarding, and it's very tough all at the same time. Mm-hmm. When I have couples I'm working with and they do what I call flip in themselves and with each other as far as how to connect, how to care, how to have a Christ-centered marriage, that is like a very exciting moment. And I love working with couples who want to know how to have a marriage that God would want them to have that would also be an example of God in their lives. So that's very rewarding to me.
The world's greatest generation, according to a number of people, was the World War II generation.
Yes.
They didn't have Facebook.
No.
They didn't have 1,000 choices to watch and listen to. They maybe had 3 television networks, the newspaper, a couple of radio stations, and the Yellow Pages.
Correct.
And that was about it.
Yeah.
We're a very distracted society, and the number of marriages that go on and go on and go on and go on are becoming smaller and smaller and smaller in number. Is it more important right this minute as we do this program to have somebody in your corner if your marriage is tough and you don't want the kids to suffer?
Yes, it is. And what I'm seeing out there, because I am on social media and I'm following some of these Christian marriage pages, is communication has just broken down. The more we've talked about communicate, the worse it's gotten. And so I see these couples, the biggest complaint I see is my husband won't talk to me, or my wife gets angry every time I try to talk to her. So they don't know how to really care for each other's hearts or to really make that happen. And 90% of couples actually really do not know how to do this. And they don't know how to do it because nobody has taught them how to do it. Mm-hmm. And so when they come to Dunamis Center Ministries for their marriage intensives or for their marriage workshops, I'm going to teach them how to do that. So yes, there's a little bit of counseling in there as far as how does their life impact them? Mm-hmm. What influences are getting in the way? And Jeff, I have to confront a lot of the cultural messages and how they've overlaid it into Scripture and into the Bible and into the church and try to show them, no, that is not what God is about. That is not what His plan for marriage is about. And that is not what the Bible says. And it's rampant. Mm. And if they want to protect their kids, the best thing they could do is stay married and stay married knowing how to care for each other's hearts, because their kids are influenced by so much out there. We can see it with all the transgender stuff. We can see it with all of the ideas about even committing to a vow. Mm-hmm. People don't even keep their promises anymore. Mm. And the kids are exposed to that. So if you end up in divorce court, you lose control over what happens to your children. Mm-hmm. And the divorce courts are now using that platform to even ban parents from having connection with their children if they don't agree with some of these things.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's been so many changes in the various laws, especially on custody, that parents don't have any idea of what they're facing, even if they have a good attorney,
Right.
when they go into the courtroom.
Right.
You've got a lot of events, you've got a lot of really good things, and I want to get to those, but
Okay.
I want people to understand who you are and what you do and your methodology before that, because I imagine even in a best case scenario, you're getting people who are making their lists so they can talk through them. But if one doesn't agree on point number one,
Right.
anger gets in the way of everything on that list and you cannot progress. How do you deal with that piece of it?
Well, I need to help them to understand that anger is kind of a surface emotion that's springing out of some other things that are going on inside of them. So we work towards what are their real pains? Like, do they feel disrespected? Are they feeling uncared for? Are they feeling, left out? Those sorts of things. And what was the origin of those things? And so two things happen, or a lot of things happen with that in the counseling, but the two main ones that come to my mind are helping them walk through forgiveness for their parents, for their siblings, for their bosses, and then teaching their spouses how to actually talk to the real pain button, not the anger, and also allow the person to be able to share that real, what is the real pain? What am I really needing to care for? And not just try to fix the other person.
Okay, now on to those remedies, because I think
Okay.
you've got some really, really good ones. You've got some things going on called, why do I keep doing that? I know it hurts when I go that way. The doctor says, don't go that way.
Right.
That's the simple part of it, but it doesn't work in marriage. And you've already developed the sequel.
Yeah.
How do I stop doing that? Now, the first one that we're talking about, why do I keep doing that? You've got something on August 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. for people to come and find out why they keep doing that. Then on the 27th, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And then on September 13th, 6 to 8 p.m. And the one in the middle that we talked about has the sequel piggybacked, which would be the August 27th. You can
August 27th, yeah.
You can do the why do I keep doing that at 10 a.m. that day, and then you can do how do I stop doing that on the 13th. Walk us through.
Actually, Jeff, what I've set up on the 27th is they could take why do I keep doing that from 10 to 12.
And then come
then
back
they
for
can
the
come back at
afternoon.
1 o'clock on the 27th,
Yes.
1 to 3, and do how do I stop doing that. So you can get both of them on the same day. If you can't do them both on that same day, you are correct. They could schedule to come to that one in the morning and then one of the other ones later down
the
line.
road.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your website has all of this, which, by
Yes.
the way, is dunamascenter.com. And Dunamis is spelled D-U-N-A-M-A-S. D-U-N-A-M-A-S center.com. And Dr. Pauline's phone number is 719-231-7183. Again, 719-231-7183. And then her ministry's offices are where these take place at 2143 North Academy. 2143 North Academy. And we have short attention spans in today's world, and I think that often contributes to why am I always doing this over and over again. Is that a fair assessment?
That is part of it, but it's also because our brains are trained to think in a certain way from our life experiences, and then we can't seem to break out of it. There's actually pathways built into our brain. And so the first one is based on Romans 7, where Paul talks about, I can't seem to do what I want to do, and I keep doing what I don't want to do. And so understanding that is the beginning of changing it. The second part, how do I stop doing that, is the 1 Corinthians 10:5, as far as taking your thoughts captive. People talk about that, but they never actually tell you how to do that. And so you can end up feeling like, I'm not even a good Christian. My brain is a mess. If people even knew what I was thinking half the time, they would go, you're not a Christian, but you are. You just need some help, even physiologically. And that's what these two workshops will do for you.
And you'll have handouts that walk you through this so
Yes.
that you can take notes on it.
Yes.
And then make the application
Yes.
in real time once you've completed the courses.
Yes, and very quickly in the second part, you're actually going to get a workbook. We're actually going to work you through assessments, and you're going to walk away with your own personal understanding of what you need to do nutritionally, exercise, things to help your brain think differently.
And I think you have a real reasonable price attached to it too, don't you?
Yes, I want people to get into this. If you sign up for both at the same time, it's only $69.
Wow.
Otherwise, like the first one, if you take it by itself is $59 and the second one is $69. But if you register for both at the same time, we just want it accessible, and we want people to come learn about their brain, because we're body, mind, and spirit, and God made us that way, and this is this piece.
That's 4 hours of really good, impactful information.
Yes.
And now you've got another follow-up to that that's developing with some marriage workshops that are coming up in September. Tell us about those.
Okay, so I've been doing marriage intensives for the past 14 years, which are 5 days for 3 hours a day. And I wanted to be able to offer it to more people, but I didn't want it to be like a big marriage retreat where you have hundreds of people and no personal attention. So I've developed a workshop where part one is 12 hours, a Friday night and a Saturday. And in that part, you're going to learn how to start to understand each other's hearts. I'm going to be able to help you to connect to care and to reverse how you communicate. So I only take 8 couples in that workshop because I want to be able to work with each couple and help them expand. They're going to get a toolkit with the workbooks, and there's more workbooks and there's more materials. And that's a $350 value, and that's included in that workshop. And then the second part is a one-day workshop where you can expand vision, mission. How do we keep doing this? What other spiritual areas do we want to take care of? And so you can sign up for the first part without doing the second part, but you really can't do the second part without doing the first part, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely it does. And while you do these events, if there are pastors out there who are burdened with so many things going on, one of those being marriage problems within the congregation, they can bring you into the church, and you can do it for the pastor within the church. You're able to do that, correct?
Yes, I can come in. And why do I keep doing that workshop? I would even offer to your church for free. I would do it at your church. And I have a little video you can show in church that talks about it. It's a little bit of less than a minute long. And that way you can introduce people to this. I'm also offering it free to like a pastor staff couple if they want to come to those workshops, or I will even take one into the marriage workshops, because I want pastors to understand what I do. I want them to experience it, and I want them to see how it makes a difference.
Great programs. Her name is Dr. Pauline Dillard. She is the owner, founder, executive director of Dunamis Center Ministries. Her number is 719-231-7183. 231-7183, and the website is dunamiscenter.com, DUNAMAS center.com. Dr. Pauline, thanks for coming in and enlightening our audience about these. Continued success with this, and may it be a blessing to so many people down the road.
Yes, thank you very much, Jeff, for having me on.
We're going to take a time out on It's Your Business Showcase. When we come back, we're going to talk to a pastor whose church has a ministry in the old Soviet Union and Ukraine. All of that and more coming up after you hear this.